The time has come, the walrus said, to flatten this fucking thing. Hi, hello, come on in, pull up a seat. If you're new here, my name is Dan, and if you're not, you already knew that. I need to build a flattening jig, which I think is actually going to be a flattening table, so I can use my router to flatten this so I can sand it. I had initially was thinking I'd tackle it just with a sander, but good as the glue up came out, there's too much variance in highs and lows between these blocks. It would take a month of sanding. I wanted to use my radial arm saw with a dado blade and just take nice slight passes, but the motor in my radial arm saw seems to have given up the ghost. That leaves me with very few options. I don't have a belt sander, don't have space for one even if I wanted to make one, so we are going to build a flattening jig, which will be able to be used for other things. I don't know where I'm going to store it. I was thinking of making it 24 by 30. I have some 2 by 24, 2 by 4 sheets of plywood. I've got 3/4 for the base and 1/2 inch for the risers. I think 1/2 inch will be fine for that. I was going to make it 2 feet by 30 inches, 24 by 30 inches, but as I'm looking at it, I may as well just make this whole thing the table base. And then I'll be able to use it for some larger pieces as well. It's just storing it that's going to be a nightmare. Anyway, since this is going to be the base, there's nothing we're doing to this piece, but we are going to have to make some cuts on the other pieces. So let's get to that. Okay, so the first cut I need to do is I need 2 strips that are going to be the runners along the side of the table. I think I'm going to make them 2.5 or 3 inches wide. The thing is, they need to be precise. They need to be spot on square down the whole length of it. So I'm going to need a straight edge, and I think I can get away with just using my little bitty circular saw here. I could try doing it on the table saw, but I think it's going to be easier to try and do it this way. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure in, and then I've got the dimensions for the width of this here. So measure in, add that to it, make a cut, and make another cut. And I think I am just going to use the other sheet of plywood for a straight edge. As you can see, there's not much room here. What I'm thinking is I can clamp this on like this, wherever it's going to be, and just use the factory cut edge as my straight edge. And I think that'll work, so let's do that. In the words of the great Maxwell Smart, missed it by that much. I squiggled just a little bit right here. That's just enough to mess it up. But I had already planned for an eventuality like this. I am just going to clamp these together and run them through the thickness planer, and that should get them perfectly even. All right, and there we have it. Perfectly smooth, perfectly square, perfectly even, the full length, both pieces. All right, I want to use this side because the corners are in better condition than the other side. But of course, they put these stickers on them that are all but impossible to remove without damaging the wood underneath. And I can't leave it there. Well, I suppose I could, but it's thick enough that I'm worried about it throwing the flattening off a little bit. Maybe it's more than I need to worry about. I don't know. I've never made one of these before. All right, here we are with this much. I am definitely going to add some triangle fairings in here because I do not trust that to not break off, especially when I go to store this somewhere and I have no fucking clue where I'm going to store it right now. But that's our tray part. The next part we need to make is the router piece that slides back and forth. Okay, well, there we have it. All that remains is to drill a groove down the center so the bit can go down through. But it moves back and forth nice and easily. I'll wax everything up, of course. So you move it down. This is a little sloppy still. I can throw some spacing material in there to take up that slop so it'll roll more steadily. But that's what it's supposed to do. All right, I'm filming this a few days after I filmed the first part of this video, but as you can see, the flattening jig works. I had to wait a few days to get a proper bit. Don't worry, this is unplugged, because none of the bits, the one flattening bit I had was garbage. So I got one with some proper carbide bits on it, and it does a great job. You can see the lines between the passes on here, but that's nothing that can't very easily be sanded out. The one problem-ish that I have is that I made these sidewalls much too high. This bit only extends about the depth of the cutter teeth below this plate, and this is like 3 inches here, so that's way too tall. I'm compensating for it right now by propping the piece up on some 2x4s to raise it. I'm not sure if I'm going to try trimming these down, but that will limit me to how thick of a piece of wood I can put on here, so I'm going to have to noodle on that. But for now, to do the cutting board that I need to do, I can just prop it up on some 2x4s and flatten it that way. I'm very excited that this worked, and we'll see you in the next video.